and in the past.
In just time, I've just been like hardcore struggling trying to find a balance between flow and structure with time. I want to grab my notes about the new moon because there's a bunch of stuff that came up for the new moon.
Well, and I'm definitely gonna have some advice for you, because since I my color chart, do not burn yourself out before July, because you're going to be a rocket in July, and then you're going to slow down a bit, and then you're going to be back. The fall will be like no barriers, but you're going to really feel like you're spinning your wheels for the next at least 2 to 3 weeks, I would say.
Okay.
So,
trying to figure out, like, I've realized it's easier for me to focus on process rather than results, because I never know how long something is going to take me. So when I'm like, oh, I'll do it until it's done, it's like, it could be 3 days, like, it's like there's got to be some kind of balance, So I know at first it was like, it seemed ludicrous, me waking up at 6 and having like, super regimented my day. But honestly, for example, with like exercise, it's one thing where I think it can be super creative and positive or super destructive depending on the motivation, where it's like, okay, am I working out or doing yoga because it centers me, it calms me down, it's like stress relief, or am I doing it because I feel like I need to be better, like I need to be fit? Like they're two totally different fucking motivations. It's the same action, but completely different motivations. And so like, completely different end goal, where it's like, again, the process over perfection and process over results, where it's like, if you enjoy the process, then it shouldn't matter. Like I had this mind-blowing conversation with a gentleman, a samurai of Gaia. Like, he used the exact same words. He's like, this is war, and like information is our arms. And I was just like, how? I'm getting this same message in literally the exact same fucking words from 2 mentors, 2 different genders, 2 different backgrounds, 2 different countries. Exact same fucking words. They're pretty short, but it has to do with what we were speaking about. This was when I realized that I had been basically just like fucked over by insidious dogma that I didn't even realize was still
okay.
So they kind of like, they phase into each other. I've grown tired of my wayward ways, looping forward and back endlessly. Ouroboros, cannibal, I eat my own tail and swallow my entrails. I'm haunted by my own shadow, transfixed by the clear-cut lines of black against the ground. Me, my true face is more amorphic. It shifts and swells and spills like the waves, and I yearn for the simplicity of my shadow. Black, coal black, jet black, obsidian black, negro, noir. Let it consume me. Let me be reborn in monochrome so I no longer see these dark circles under my eyes. Because every page of my brain's been dog-eared by dogma in some form or another. The glue that binds me burns like ants through the magnifying glass of cruel children and the white-hot heat of my self-defeating, egocentric perfectionism. What the fuck am I trying to prove? And to whom? There are these 2 wolves within me, both demanding to be fed. One dines on my heart and the other on my head. One chokes on apathy and the other on words unsaid. And if my mind wins, I'd rather be dead. So who will I serve? Self-gratification? Easy pleasure? Or something grander, bigger, more full? Will I produce or consume? Because I feel like a butterfly trapped in a cocoon. These thoughts in my head cloud my mind with monsoons, and I just pray to the goddess this all will end soon. My wings ache with the urge to be free, this need to bridge the distance between you and me. And I know reality's an illusion, just one great dream, but I often forget we're just players in a big cosmic scheme. I want to bust my crown wide open, let the light flood in, illuminate all the lessons we've dressed as sins, help us look with new eyes, seeing souls instead of skins, and stop searching for answers without, because all true wisdom lies within.
Nice.
The evolutionary astrology new moon video.
Oh yeah. You said you watched me and something else.
Yeah, yours and this guy, Brian Coulter. I really recommend everything he does. He's super concise. I love the way that because he calls it evolutionary astrology. You know, where he's like always trying to find the point is like, how is this helping our our evolution as a species?
Okay.
And so he says that this whole Gemini Sagittarius shift from like the lunar node shifting, it's all about paradigm busting.
Oh yeah. Big time.
And stepping out of dogma. And so it's like, right, so what paradigms do we want to shift? And this whole idea of like not knowing what the truth actually is. And I've been struggling with that so much. And he's talking about leveraging meditation to feel the energetic texture, like the differences between truth and half-truths and just flat out deception.
Yeah.
And that was fucking like, wow to me. Because remember we were talking before where I was like, I feel truth. Like sometimes like there are things where someone will say something to me and I'll chills, I'll like feel the truth in my body. But I've never thought to like actively try and use that as a technique to sit with myself and be like, okay, what is true? Like what's going on here, even with like my own inner paradigms, like the way that I speak to myself or the way that I view the world, where it's like what is truth, like what is really true. And that was a theme that kept coming up in my conversation with Kai last night, was this whole idea of epistemology, like how do we know what we know? And
epistemology.
So epistemology is how do we know what we know? It's like the source of knowledge. Like epistemology is like where.
How come I don't know what that is?
Look into it. It's fucking amazing. It comes up a lot in philosophy. Like I feel like I was first introduced to epistemology in my like university philosophy courses, and it kind of left me on this like solipsistic like, I don't know anything except for that I exist. And like, I don't know if you exist. I don't know if anything else exists. And like the whole, like the limitations of language and like how language is the main way that we're able to communicate, but we're also completely kind of like bogged down by language because
this is why linguistics is a fascinating exploration.
Mm-hmm.
Like seriously. Really? Like McLuhan's look at linguistics is fascinating.
I can't wait to dive into that.
I know, right? And
trying to sort through all the truth. That was another thing they were talking about in that evolutionary astrology video, or was talking about with having Neptune being this kind of like this murkiness where we're all trying to be able to discern what is truth, but all of the like data and information is filtering through this kind of like murkiness of Neptune. So we're unable to see like what is truth and what isn't, and I think it's going to be a while before we have, I don't know if we'll ever have any fucking certainty, but like.
Think of it more of like a discernment class or a class in discernment. Neptune is all a class in discernment right now.
Okay.
And, it's going to play into our wishful thinking, right? And that's the whole thing. That's on every level. What do we hope is having in our, happening in our personal relationships? What do we hope is happening in our families? What do we hope is happening in our communities? What we hope is happening in the world? So it's not an easy time. This is why just collapsing and going to sleep to it, you don't have to learn anything. You don't have to better yourself. You just have to stay alert and realize that, this time, no precedent before, ever. So it requires all of us to be as aware so that not only can we make better decisions, moving forward, but we can support each other too, because I'm like, do you know how many planets are retrograde?
5?
Well, basically, by the time that Venus finishes its retrograde in July, every planet is in a state of retrograde in some shape or form for the month of July.
Yay!
So while technically Venus will be out of technical retrograde, it's still going to be in the shadow of it. So, and then, then of course, Aries kicks into gear. The Mars moves back home to Aries.
Yay! When he was talking with Don Juan, the shaman, and talking about the 4 enemies to mankind and man's growth, and the first one is fear, and that through facing our fears, and it's not no longer being afraid, it's just being able to be afraid and face our fears, we're able to reach clarity, which then becomes our second enemy. Yeah. Because once we're clear, it's we can fall into the trap of thinking that our clarity is the only truth that exists.
Because not one of us can say anything for absolute certain.
Mm-mm.
Not one of us.
No.
So if we can allow ourselves to not have all the information, to realize that through the effect of how we're being manipulated, or how some are attempting to manipulate us in the media now, how they've been successful at it in the past because of looking the rear view mirror and seeing the patterns and of different strata within our societies. And some things are becoming, it's all very emperor's new clothes, really. It's almost too cliche. But
everybody's naked.
Yeah, it's like, get over it. And what, pardon my French, but what the fuck is really going on here? That's kind of what it is for me. What's the truth?
Discerning. I mean, do you have any advice on being able to discern the what is credible and not credible media when there's just so much information out there, and it seems like everyone kind of has there's something to lose or something to gain in it?
Yeah, I think gut, instinct. Now is now time to engage with that, in a really real way. I can't remember what movie was it. K-Pax. Did you ever see that? With Kevin Spacey, and I think it's Jeff Bridges. And it's really hard to talk about K-Pax without giving it away, but it's all beings know the difference between right and wrong, and that it's actually, and then to extend from that, that's something that is most commonly associated with the heart center. It's the heart that actually feels the truth. I'm going to send you links. And
please do.
Yeah, so basically Bob gave me
fellowship.
He gave me some homework, and he said that, you know, I've gotta do Bob's private sessions with Ion, the one that he's posted on his site. So I'll send you that.
Cool.
That's the first thing that I need to look at, and so that I'm ready for when his 12-hour radio show.
Woo! I'm gonna make some popcorn.
Through
I'm ready for that one.
whole shindig, like, oh, he like, he has so much energy. You just, it's really hard to keep up with him. I'm telling you, right?
12-hour radio show.
Yeah. So obviously, you know, I mean, whether you can take it or not, like, you know, he's all like, macho. If you can take it, 12 hours, you know, we're all over it, and we're on fire, and it's all important. You should call in. So,
awesome. And when's that gonna be?
So I'm basically gonna spend the next like day and a half reviewing the private sessions with Ion, because they're probably hours long. They always are, these recordings, but they're just audio. Just so you know what you're going to be linked to, and yeah. So he said start there and work your way back. You know, but you know, be current for now. And so I'm going to do that, and then I'm going to hop on. I'm not going to get on the radio this weekend. I think it, you know, I want to listen to as much as I can take on Saturday. So yeah, it's 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Saturday nights at achieveradio.com. So
on Saturday,
I'll give you the direct link, and you.
So he's gonna do it from 8 p.m. until 8 a.m.
Yeah.
Okay.
And when he first arranged my phone call for today, it was 4 a.m. his time. But he was too busy, so it got postponed to, because I was in 10 o'clock my time, and we postponed it to 4 o'clock this afternoon, and then he called me again at 8, and we chatted a little bit more. But I was just like, because of my experience of talking to Bob, I was able to get straight to the point. And, you know, even the fact that I got confirmations on some of the things that I was suspicious of, I still really haven't had a chance to exhale from.
Called it.
What's that?
It's like that feeling of like satisfaction where you're just like, yes, fucking called it. Like, confirmed. I knew it. Knew it.
But also like, fuck.